I don't live it anymore. I really got some sucker to take it away. Got it. I was at Austin, so Roger Williams did the charity auction.
It's now 7 p.m. Good evening, all in attendance. This is the May 21st meeting of the Town of Warren Zoning Board of Review. I am the chair, Andrew Ellis. To my right is the vice chair, Jason Rainone, followed by Jason Nystrom, Bert Rodriguez, Michael Elves, David Francis, and Chuck Dipito. Mr. Elves and Mr. Francis are typically the alternate members. They will be participating, but do not vote unless one of the regular members is unavailable for voting. In the case of this evening, I will not be voting. I will just be here to moderate, as we only have one matter that was continued from February, I believe, when I was not here. So the same 5 members who heard the original application in February and attended the site visit will be those that are eligible to vote. We do have a quorum. In fact, we have full attendance this evening. So we can move to the first matter of business, which is approving the minutes from the prior meeting of April the 16th. Is there any discussion on the minutes, or is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the minutes are approved. So under old business, we have application 2508. Jesse James, owner and applicant, 42 Sachem Street, flat map 13C, lot 21, request for a variance to construct an accessory structure, a 2-car garage in the front yard in the R10 zoning district. So I'll let the vice chair proceed with the hearing and interrogate the
You just get
witness.
to sit and watch.
I will moderate if the crowd gets out of control.
Fair enough. Welcome back, Mr. James.
Hi again.
So first we should clarify, it is our understanding from the site visit conducted earlier that the dimensions of the garage you are proposing to build have changed.
Yes.
Can you please brief us for this record as to the new dimensions and orientation of the garage in question?
So the footprint's the same, 24 by 36. The gable has rotated. So now when you face the house, the garage structure is going to be going up to the left-hand side. The gable is now facing the driveway as opposed to the other way originally planned. And the height of the structure is lower. Is now the ridge will be 16 feet. 16 feet.
So the peak of the roof of the structure will be running east-west rather than north-south.
Yes.
And we've reduced from a maximum of 20 feet down to 16
Down to
feet.
16.
And just the front yard setback, has that moved back? You currently have it marked as 15 feet, but is it 17 feet now?
27.
27 feet? Okay.
Do we have a copy of that plan?
So if I can ask the solicitor, with a new plan, can we do this as a modification to the existing application?
As long as it's not a substantial change to the application, and the facts I'm hearing, it's still, garage is still basically the same location. It's basically the same type of structure. There's been some amendments proposed in terms of exact location, in terms of turning it. There's been some modification as to the height, and there's been some other, what I would say, smaller changes, I would not consider that a substantial change to the application. So certainly it's within the board's purview to just make those amendments on the floor as the project itself is not substantially changed.
Okay. So then, for the record, we will mark this as Exhibit A, as an updated set of plans for the structure to be built. And we will move forward with this under the same application.
Mr. Rainoni, it's also important to put on the record that it's a reduction, it's not an enlargement of the initial proposal.
Correct. So this is a reduction in height. This is an increase in the distance from the front property line, and it is a rotation of the orientation of the roof structure. And Michael, whenever you're good, if you could send that down this way, we'll all take a quick look at it.
Yeah. This plan said. Is it 24?
Yes, 24.
24. Okay.
16 foot, 4 is 18.
Yeah.
This looks the same.
Yeah, that matches.
Yeah.
Still fine. And Mr. James, if you could confirm for us the site plan that you have and the dimensions you've provided for the updated building, have it as 30 feet deep. When we were on site, we measured 36.
It is. I'd forgotten. I'd also reduced that to try to make that less of the footprint.
Gotcha. So then the dimensions we're looking at in this package are correct.
Yes, the new package, right? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
24 by
but
30.
the dimensions are smaller, you know, it's
Yes.
from what was originally proposed.
Correct.
Okay. Someone else want this? Do you want it back?
No, okay, we can give it back to her though.
Yeah,
What?
mine.
All right.
Do any of the members voting on this application have any further questions?
No, I think we can bring up the.
I just wanted, just for the record, there were some things that were clarified now that were when we had done the site visit. And just a few things I wanted to memorialize. Previously, one of the concerns I had was that the garage was going to be taller than the existing house. However, with the reconfiguration of the roof line and the materials presented, it now appears that the total height of this proposed garage is 16 feet, which we believe is going to be in line with the maximum height of the existing house. Is that your understanding?
Within, I think, 6 or 8 inches.
Plus
It's-
or minus.
Yeah.
All right, because I will say, if the garage is going to be substantially taller than the remainder of the house, I would think that would not fit in with the characteristics of the area. You don't have massive garages. However, with the garage being reduced in height, that's less of a concern for me. I also want to indicate that the original proposed plan had this as a 15-foot front yard setback. It's now been increased to 27 feet. Having conducted the site inspection, I just want to have a brief comment on the terrain, or topography of the area, where it does appear to be sloping from the road towards your house and gradually towards the water. So that this is not a situation, so let's figure out how to say this. It appears from the proposed plan where the garage would go, it's actually going to be lower than what the abutting home structures are. Regarding the rainwater runoff, I'll ask this to the applicant. Are you willing to make any commitments as to the use of dry wells to minimize water runoff?
I have no problem doing a dry well, especially as I mentioned on the site, if it looks like when we do the plan, we look at the calculations of runoff from the roof in particular. If it looks like it's going to start washing out the driveway, I'll definitely do a dry well. If it's required, again, I have no problem with that if it's a requirement, or if it's at my discretion, either way.
Okay. And one last final comment on the geography of the area. We did notice that there is kind of right in the middle of where this parcel is in that backyard area, or side yard technically. There did appear to be a septic tank cap kind of right in the middle. So it did appear from my perspective that it would be difficult to configure this garage kind of further back
Right.
than what it already is.
We could note a possible condition if the board was so inclined that all stormwater runoff from the roof be contained within the limits of his own property by whatever means he deems appropriate to do so.
It's a nice room. Maybe the board wants to ask about lot coverage, just to clarify exactly what is being proposed.
So just trying to do some compare and contrast here. Do we have a copy of the new dimensions?
We know it's 30 by 24.
You know what?
30 by 24.
I know, I just want to kind of get all of it. So I'm just gonna take a picture so I don't have to hog this.
30 by 24 would be a 720 square foot garage.
As far as lot coverage goes, it looks like, what is current, what was it?
We were at 1575.
1575 proposed, yeah, so 1575. Which I believe is going to be it's going to be lower than what was proposed, the 2439 at 8%. So we're well below the 20% lot coverage.
Yeah, we're actually at a shade less than 8%.
And just to be clear, the garage is going to have electricity run to it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe the proposal was like a workshop with the 2 bays.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a second story to that? Like, when I say second story,
No.
it's going to be single story. It's just kind of the gabled roof.
I think we should also make note that there was a structure there. There was a house there, what, 8 years ago as well?
8, 10.
10 years ago. There was a structure in that location prior to, which was a house, not a garage.
Yeah, but it's not mirroring the exact same footprint, correct?
I'd have to go back.
No.
What was the footprint of the house, you remember? I think
It was definitely smaller.
Yeah, it was smaller.
At least narrower.
Yeah.
I don't know the length, but roughly a little bit further back, but in the same location.
Okay, and do we recall who took that building down?
previous.
Yeah, the previous
Previous
owner,
owner.
Craig.
Fisher.
There you go.
So that wasn't something that you had done. Okay.
No.
All right. Given the proximity to the water, do we need to make any stipulations for CRMC or anything like that? So,
Not that
No, it's
seems to
fine
be
enough for
indicated.
yeah, I didn't think so. I just wanted to cover it.
Yeah, the new structure won't be in the flood zone. The flood zone ends at like the very corner of the existing house.
Okay.
I can clarify with the solicitor, as this is a continuance of a previous matter, do we need to reopen public comment?
As there was changes to the initial plan, I think it would be appropriate. if anyone in the public wants to speak for a while.
Sounds good. Any other immediate questions from members of the board? Hearing none, you can have a seat for a brief moment. We will reopen public comment. Not sure if you had anything to add. Please.
Come on out.
And name and address for the record.
Dolores Dupas, 40 Satcham Street.
Okay.
So I know originally there was a variance that was going to be in place of it being close to my yard. Sounds like with the change of it, it might be like a 3 feet variance or none at all now,
So
or?
the actual variance that was being requested is to be able to put the structure in the front yard of the building.
Mhm.
The actual distance from the front yard lot line was never really a major concern. The ultimate variance was because based on the position of the house, this is technically sitting in the front yard, which is something that the zoning code doesn't allow. So the current placement and size has increased the distance from your property line
Correct.
by a little over 10 feet.
Mhm.
But ultimately, that was never the variance that needed to be offered in the first place.
Okay,
So it's not the distance, it's just, can you put it in the front yard?
gotcha. I remember it was asked, what if we move it 5 feet back? Would you be happy with that? So I thought that maybe that was part of the issue, but, okay. And can we, I know you said that there's not going to be a second floor anymore, and I was definitely concerned.
Oh, there never
with-
was.
Yeah. So no owners can occupy that building, correct? No, not owners, no tenants, anything to that effect?
At this
Or does
point-
that?
At this
have-
point, there would only be 4 or 5 feet worth of space above what would be qualified as a first floor.
Right,
So from a space standpoint, there really isn't enough structural space to allow for a second floor. The first floor is, to our understanding, being functionally fit out as a garage.
Right.
So it's not a livable space.
Just as Rhode Island, those laws keep changing by the hour. so.
Yes, I would say
It's not a
that,
town thing, it's a state thing.
okay,
yeah, I would say we can't restrict future development of this garage because state law may allow for a garage to be converted into an apartment at some future time. And the state law would take precedence. So this board can only approve what's on paper, but the owner still retains any rights under state law for future development.
all right, that's all I have.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you. Being that we've heard from the only 2 people in the audience, we'll close the public portion of this and we'll bring it back to the applicant. If you can come forward. Is there any additional information you think we would need before we finish our discussion?
I don't think so. We've done everything.
Are there any final questions from the voting members of the board? Is someone prepared to make a motion?
I can do that. I'm just taking last few notes here.
Okay. Correct. There's only 4 that are present.
So you might have.
What's that? While we are waiting for Mr. Nystrom, for the record, we should say that of the members present, the 4 people who were both present at the January meeting and present at the site visit earlier today were myself, Mr. Nystrom, Mr. Alves, and Mr. Thibodeau. They will be the 4 individuals casting votes on this matter.
This is Mr. Nystrom. I move approval of application number 25-08, Jesse James, owner and applicant. 42 Sachem Street, plat map 13C, lot 21. Request for a variance to construct an accessory structure, 2-car garage, in the front yard in the R10 zoning district. In granting this variance, we find that the hardship is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land or structure, and not to the general characteristics of the surrounding area, and not due to the economic or physical disability of the applicant. This is a non-traditional shaped parcel. It is essentially, it's kind of an island that is connected by a small piece of land that connects it to Sachem Street, and the property is all physically set back from the road. After our site inspection today, there was also indicated that there is a septic tank well cap pretty much smack dab in the center of the property, which does limit limits where you can put a structure such as this on the property. Technically speaking, the way the property is set out, this garage is going to be in the front yard. We do find that it's due to the unique layout of this land, we find that the placement of this garage is appropriate. We find that the hardship is not the result of any prior action of the applicant. There had been some testimony given at a previous hearing as well as tonight that in the approximate area where this proposed garage is going to go, there was a freestanding single-family home that was very small that was taken down about 8 to 10 years ago. However, there's been evidence presented tonight that the applicant was not the one who took that down. That was from the prior owner. So that this is essentially, a fresh patch of grass to be developed. We find that the granting of this variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area, and the request conforms to the purpose and intent of the Warren zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. The plan, there were some amended plans and proposals provided today, which brought this proposed garage more in line with the neighborhood. The garage is going to be a maximum of 16 feet high, which is in essence, plus or minus a few inches, the same or similar height of the existing home. In this neighborhood, there are other detached garages in the area. We find that the size and scope of this garage is not something that is abnormal to this area. We also find that this is a way to develop the land in an appropriate way and provide some covered parking as well as a workshop space for the owners. And if this variance were not to be granted, we find that it would be more than a mere inconvenience. As some special conditions, actually, no, before I get to that, we just want to memorialize the changes that were presented today. Total lot coverage is going to stay well under the required 20%. It's going to be just under 8%. So it's going to be 2,295 square feet. The garage as proposed currently is proposed at 720 square feet. And the height is listed at 16 feet tall. There is also presented with the designs, the ridge line of the roof is going to be moving east to west, not north to south, which was previously indicated. And the applicant has indicated that he is willing to prevent any stormwater runoff onto the adjacent properties, and that is going to be a condition that we will place on approval of this.
Are there any other conditions? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Guys have it, 4-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Leone. We'll return back to the remainder of the agenda. There isn't much. There is no new business before the board this evening. Are there any administrative matters, upcoming absences, or other notes clerical wise?
I just wanted to note, Mr. Chair, the ethics training board
Yeah.
things we have to do. I know that filled up like
Yeah.
instantaneously before we even got noticed the first time.
We didn't get renoticed, did we?
So I just want to say I did get a renotice.
I did get a renotice, but I didn't get it.
Oh, I guess I'm lucky. They've got something, I want to say it's on for next week or the week after that I was able to get into, but they were pretty responsive. I just happened to be at work and caught it right away. But,
If you contact Isabel, you should
Yeah.
be fine. She'll reschedule, plug you in.
Yeah, she said there's other ones coming up. Anything else?
I will note that unfortunately, I am once again in Washington DC for the June meeting, so I will not be.
Sure. All right, if nothing else, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a
So
motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.